Good morning, traders. I am Emily Vani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Friday, July 12th. We round out this trading week after markets ended mixed yesterday following softer than expected inflation data and big tech taking a hit. The Dow was the day's only winner by just 32 points or 0.08%. The Nasdaq and the S&P 500 both ended sharply lower. The Nasdaq tumbled 364 points or nearly 2%. The S&P 500 sank 49 points or 0.88%. Bill, let's get into Friday's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Hi, yes, good morning, Emily. How are you? Listen, I'm watching the S&Ps. The S&Ps are higher. We're up 0.13%. The big thing today is that producer price index. That report is pending. It's going to come out 1 hour before the market opens. We got bank earnings. That's really the key focus that's happening this morning. JP Morgan, Wells Fargo is trading a little lower. I'm not surprised. I see that often. President Biden, he did that press conference yesterday, after the NATO summit. He did that press conference. Not granted, the bar was really low, but he actually was solid up there. He did okay, and so that was positive. But the key question that kept coming up was, are you going to drop out of the race? Will you be dropping out of the race? And, he did lay out a scenario where he would consider dropping out of the race. And we'll have to continue to see. This is a developing story. There'll be more tension over this over the next month because the DNC meeting is not until August, but we'll keep an eye on it. We're watching all the time. AT&T, Apple, ticker T as in Tom. Stocks moving lower. There was a report this morning, an SEC filing, and it basically came out and said that a hacker has broken into their systems and stole data on nearly all of its customers. Not good for shares of AT&T this morning. Export data out of China was strong, but let's take a look at these overseas markets, and let's start off with Germany. Germany's up about 79 points at 0.43%. Now in Germany, the wholesale prices in Germany fell 0.3%. That's positive, for the month of June compared to an increase of 0.1% in May. In the FTSE's up 20 points. We're seeing some gains in pharma, a little weakness in some of the mining stocks. France is up 60 points or 0.79%. You continue seeing positive action in that luxury sector. That's good for the French index. We were looking last night. Asia was all over the place last night. We got to start off with the Nikkei. The Nikkei dropped 1,033 points. That's 2.45%. Remember, it's been jumping, a couple of percentage points, day after day. But you know what? There's a story out there about, the Bank of Japan. They may have spent up to 3.57 trillion yen in its most recent intervention in the exchange market, because the yen's trading at 38-year lows, and that's just causing the market to go through the roof. So they had to do something. So there's no confirmation that they did this, but that's just a speculation. But because they're trying to boost the currency, that's going to cause the Nikkei to drop. And sure enough, you saw a loss of 2.45%. But let's take a look at Hong Kong. Hong Kong, on the other hand, jumped 461 points. That's 2.59%. Hong Kong was up more than 2.5%. You're seeing a lot of gains. Sentiment is very bullish. Why? Because hey, there's a pending Fed rate cut. This September looks like it's guaranteed that there's going to be a rate cut. China increased its margin on short sellings. The Chinese market, was flat to higher. It was up 0.03%. China's got that GDP data next week, which is a concern. But their exports data showed an increase of 8.6% on the year. The expectations was about 8%, so that's an uptick. So you're seeing Hong Kong jump on that. Shanghai is a little bit more cautious, but they got that big regulators meeting, the governmental meeting next week, and that's going to be where the focus is. So we got to keep an eye on Germany. We got to keep an eye on these Chinese markets. Let's take a look at oil because oil is showing gains. They're up over 0.8%. We get WTI up plus 89 cents at $83.51. That's up 1.08%, whereas in Brent is at $86.06. That's up 0.77%. Host of catalysts, PPI today, next week's political meeting where there's expected stimulus talk on the table out of China. The odds of a rate cut have increased. And summer driving seems to be strong. That's positive for oil. That's where you've seen oil stocks, oil prices jump this morning. That looks like that trend's going to continue until something makes a turn. But that's what I have for you in terms of an oil, in terms of a market update report this morning, Emily.
Bill, you mentioned, all the way at the top of the opening there, the earnings that have come out all week. We've been talking about these big banks that were set to release today, some of which have, as you gave us a preview. So give us a rundown of everything we should be watching when it comes to the day's earnings action.
Let's start off with Citibank. They beat by 15 cents on higher revenue. That stock's up 3.13% this morning. You're talking Wells Fargo. They beat by 4 cents on higher revenue. But you look at WFC this morning, the stock's down 5.42%. Talking JP Morgan. They delivered a beat at 12 cents. JP Morgan just turned. It's now up 0.17%, but it was trading lower by, a couple of bucks earlier this morning. Bank of New York Mellon, ticker BK, Boy Kilo. We're talking. These guys delivered a beat of 8 cents, and they did that on higher revenue, which is nice to see. You look at the Bank of New York up 2.47% this morning. Upcoming, we're talking Monday morning releases. We're talking BlackRock, ticker BK. Their EPS is $10.02. Excuse me. Their EPS is $10.02. Their expected move is 3.60%. That's ticker BLK, Boy Larry Kilo. Then we got Goldman Sachs, ticker GS, Gray Sam. They're also releasing Monday morning. Their EPS is $8.70. Expected move is 4.46% when they release Monday morning. That's really all I'm seeing for the upcoming calendar. But we got a lot of earnings coming out next week, Emily.
And Bill, even though you're keeping a track of that, we also have that other headline here, which is more inflation data. So you're keeping track of economic events as well. So give us a look at the economic events we should be watching today.
Listen, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, we get the producer price index coming out. Markets are looking for a slight increase of 0.1% in June, following the decrease of 0.2% in May. All right. Consumer sentiment's coming out also tomorrow morning this morning, I think at 10 a.m. This is the University of Michigan numbers. 1 p.m. we get the Baker Hughes rig count. The talk really is on that consumer price index report, which, unexpectedly declined by 0.1% in June, making it the first monthly decrease since May of 2020. So that's a very positive. And then you had Chicago Fed Bank President Austin Goolsbee. He spoke yesterday, and he expressed optimism that the U.S. economy is progressing towards a 2% inflation target based on the June CPI data. He stated, this is what it looks like to the path of 2%, indicating that the economy appears to be back on track, achieving the desired inflation rate. He described the June consumer price report as excellent news, very positive. I like to hear what he said. He's a big dove. But that's what I have for in terms of economic data coming out this morning, Emily.
And Bill, keeping track of those earnings, those economic events, but you're also still keeping a pulse on the day's other market moving news. This is information and data coming out of different sectors and segments. You're looking at things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, other types of catalysts. You can group your stocks together with your NewsWare alerts, looking at FANG stocks grouped together or your Dow 30 stocks grouped together to really get a feel for the trading day ahead. So Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
Looking at my Dow stocks, I got 24 higher, 6 lower. That's a nice ratio going into the day. You're looking at the FANG stocks. I'm showing weakness in Tesla, Meta, and Amazon this morning, but Netflix and Apple and Google are gaining. So we'll have to see how this turns out. We'll see how it shakes out. We're looking at some of the news behind the tape, like Apple. Apple's looking for that killer app to get people to be to get people to upgrade to that Vision Pro headset. I don't really see it happening. It's just too expensive compared to Meta's. It really is. And any killer app that they come up with is going to be on Meta's app too. So, um, I think they lost that opportunity by pricing their headset way above what the market would bear. Amazon, UK regulators are urging Amazon to improve its treatment of grocery suppliers. That they're under watch. There could be, some pending regulators looking into their grocery store sales. Amazon is trading a little lower this morning. Okay, but remember they got Prime Day starting next week, and that's typically a shot in the arm for the stock. 194.5. Yeah, I could see 199. Google, YouTube is releasing new features for YouTube Shorts. That's positive. Netflix. Listen, Netflix is showing a slight gain, 0.5%, but the earnings are out next week. Citibank, I see, is neutral on the stock, but JP Morgan just raised its price target to 750. So, I got to be positive on Netflix this morning. Tesla, still in the wins. They've had a really nice run lately. I did buy some puts yesterday, and I made a nice gain on it, but I wish I would have held a little longer. But Tesla's launching their new Model 3 long range vehicle. They're going to be pricing at 42.5. It looks like. Let's take a look at some Dow Jones 30 stocks. Microsoft ticker MSFT, according to Citibank. Microsoft is far ahead of Amazon and Google in that generative AI battle. Boeing ticker shares of Boeing are trading. It's ticking higher this morning, but they're warning of additional 737 Max delays amid production headwinds. That's kind of normal for these airplane manufacturers. Airbus has the same issues. In terms of merger news, Merck's going to post a Q3 charge of about $1.3 billion or 50 cents a share due to that iBio deal they came out with this morning. Guidance, JP Morgan sees the full year 2024 adjusted expense of around 92 billion. Depends on the market, they say. It's really hard to judge on these stocks. Shareholder events, nothing big today, but I do see that ADSK and Alcoa, they're having Investors Day. They're having shareholders meetings next week. SMG's having their Investors Day next week. Amazon Prime is their Prime Day starts Tuesday, something to keep an eye on. But in terms of catalyst calls, ticker J, Genpact. Citibank opened up a 30-day positive catalyst watch on shares of Genpact. The Genpact, they're keeping the share a neutral rating into it, but they did open up a 30-day positive catalyst watch going into earnings, so it's something to keep an eye on. That ticker G is in Grace. We're looking at the stock this morning for and you know what? It's flat. It's flat to higher. We could see some nice gains in the stock today. WDC, William David Charlie. Western Digital, Citibank raises its price target and opened up a 90-day positive catalyst watch on the stock on ticker WDC. The stock's up, 2 cents this morning. Could have some more gains. We'll keep an eye on it. But that's what I have for you in terms of news hitting the tape this morning.
This is the type of data that Newsware delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. It is now that time of the show for the trade talk pick of the day. Bill, what do you have for us to end this week?
Yeah, I'm going through my list and looking for a good winner. Looking at the earnings for Monday, BlackRock, yeah, it's just too expensive a stock for me to trade. Goldman looks positive going into earnings. I don't dislike it, but it's not clear that it's going to be a good win. So I want to stick with healthcare today. I really want to stick in that healthcare sector, and I'm looking at the GE Verona, ticker GEV, Grace Edward Victor. I mean, I just feel the healthcare stocks are posed for a little bit of a breakout. We could see some nice movement in that sector today. I like GEV. I see some nice positive calls being made on it. I look at yesterday's call volume. You got 2,003 calls traded on the stock versus 1,992 puts, which is even. Call open interest 10,076 versus put open interest of 12,432. Yeah, okay, but I think that that we could GEV, Grace Edward Victor, should turn around if I can get in at it at the right price. I mean, what is that price? 177.45 is what I'm thinking. I'm going to be looking to pop in around that area. And I do think I can pull out a gain of at least 1% if I can get a trade off in that area. So that's my pick of the day. GE Verona, ticker GEV, Grace Edward Victor. I'm going to say 177.45, Emily.
GEV, it is today, Bill, looking for that specific entry point. And coming up before we sign off, we will do a check-in on yesterday's pick of the day. We'll do a recap on that, so don't go anywhere. But ahead of that, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, take it away.
Okay, City shares climbs as Q2 banking revenue surpasses expectations. What else we got here? India's antitrust body finds Apple engaging in abusive practices in the apps market. Not too surprising, but Apple stock is trading higher this morning. Unilever, ticker UL, Uncle Larry, they're going to plan to cut a third of office jobs in Europe. Bally, ticker BALY, they secured funding from the gaming and leisure properties. Looks like they want to do something with the Chicago casino. Biogen, their Alzheimer's drug was approved. Well, yesterday it was approved in China. Today it was approved in Israel. That's kind of nice. Chinese retail and stocks are jumping this morning. You're talking Baidu, JD, Baba. Seeing some strong gains there. Dollar General, ticker DG, they're going to be settling store safety violations by paying a $12 million penalty. Jack in the Box is interesting. Meal deals at fast food restaurants appear to be bringing back customers. Everybody hates Jack in the Box, and it could turn. But this isn't just Jack in the Box. This is Wendy's. This is Dine Entertainment. HLF, Henry, Larry, Victor. Option volume is really bearish yesterday. Implied volatility is increasing. Elon Musk's social media company X breached the EU's online content rules, apparently. That's not good. That's going to be a fine. Anson Funds Management has amassed a stake in Five9. Intel is on the path to $1 billion in cumulative software revenue by 2027 is a headline that I see on the tape. That's all I'm seeing this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we sign off for the weekend, get to trading on this Friday, let's do a quick check-in on yesterday's pick of the day, which was Pfizer. Now, you made this pick, Bill, after news that the company is moving forward with its once-daily version of its weight loss pill. Obviously, weight loss drugs have really seen a spike. And as you mentioned, the pill version may be an added boost for Pfizer and their offerings. You were trading this one yesterday. Bill, how did your call work out?
Well, I mean, it worked out very well. You look at Pfizer, the stock opened up at $28.78 and quickly ran to $29.23. So, that was positive right there. But I was looking for an entry price around $28.40. I mean, the stock did fall back, and it fell back to $28.42. And I mean, that 2 cents. You got to give it to me. And then, from there, it just rallied. It rallied up to $28.89. You look at it this morning, it's at $28.87. So the 1% was there, if you got into that lower price target that I was talking about. But even if you got in the open, you made money. Pfizer, it was a winner. I'm not thinking that Pfizer is going to do the same thing that Lilly, because Lilly went from 300 to 937 from its weight loss drug. I don't think Pfizer will do the same, but I think a pill is better than a shot, and a pill will, get people to be using it more often. And I think Pfizer could still have legs. I think they're on the right path trying to develop a pill for that weight loss drug scenario. So very positive on it, Emily. PFE was a good winner yesterday.
A win there, Bill, and we will check in with you on Monday about today's GE Vernova pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here Monday and each weekday morning next week at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Bonney, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.